The morning the storm rolled across the hills above Ravenshade Estate, nobody inside the sprawling mansion suspected that the darkest chapter of the millionaire's life had already begun. The sky outside was bruised purple, thick clouds stretched over the treetops like a warning whispered by nature itself. But inside, silence roamed the marble corridors, polished and proud, just like the woman who claimed them. Her name was Fiona Dracott, stepmother to little Arya, the 6-year-old heir to the fortune left behind by her late mother. Fiona had married Raymond Dracott barely a year after his wife's passing, but there was nothing warm or maternal in the way she looked at the child who should have been her new daughter. That morning, she watched Arya from across the dining room table, her sharp blue eyes fixed on the girl as she tried her best to eat quietly, shoulders hunched like she was trying to make herself smaller. Fiona despised weakness. She despised innocence even more. Above all, she despised the fact that Arya's small, bright-eyed, curly-haired Arya stood between her and the full ownership of the Dracott fortune. And while Raymond worked overseas for weeks at a time, Fiona enjoyed every moment of her quiet, undisturbed reign over the house. But she wasn't the only woman in the mansion that morning. From the kitchen door, wiping her hands on her apron, Miriam, known to everyone simply as Mary, watched the whole uncomfortable scene with a heart that tightened more each day. The black maid had been hired when Arya was just a baby, and though her position in the house was never high, the bond she'd formed with the child was unbreakably deep. Arya trusted her, clung to her, needed her, and Mari knew, better than anyone else, that Fiona's gentle smiles were nothing more than masks hiding a terrible, growing hatred. "You're dripping syrup on the tablecloth," Fiona snapped, her voice slicing through the quiet. Arya flinched and pulled her spoon back too quickly, hitting the bowl with a soft clink. Sorry," the girl whispered. "Sorry. If you were sorry, you'd pay attention." Fiona stood abruptly, chair legs screeching. Mari almost stepped forward, but she paused, waiting for what, she didn't know. Maybe for Fiona to breathe. Maybe for Arya to stop trembling. Maybe for a miracle. But no miracle came. "Leave your breakfast. Go upstairs and tidy your room," Fiona commanded. "And don't let me find a single toy on the floor this time." Arya nodded, slipped off the chair, and hurried away, tiny bare feet tapping quickly up the grand staircase. Mari stepped back into the kitchen as Fiona turned sharply toward her. "Miriam," she said, drawing out the name the same way she always did, like it was something sour. "Clean up, and I want the child's room inspected in an hour. If she's made a mess again, she won't touch dessert for a week." Mari bit the inside of her cheek. "Yes, ma'am." "Speak up," Fiona snapped. "Yes, ma'am." Fiona walked off, the heels of her shoes echoing behind her in a rhythm that always sounded like arrogance. Mari waited until she was gone, then let out a quiet breath and murmured to herself, "Poor baby." She began clearing the table, her fingers trembling slightly, not from fear she could handle cruelty, but from anger, a deep, helpless anger that simmered every time she saw that child shrink under the weight of a woman who never deserved to be her mother. After breakfast, Mari carried the dishes into the sink, washed them quickly, then peeked out the window. The sky was growing darker, the storm sinking deeper into the valley. She had a strange feeling in her chest, a tightening, like her heart was warning her that today would bring something terrible, but she didn't know what. She wiped her hands, walked upstairs, and knocked softly on Arya's door. "It's me, baby," she said gently. The door cracked open. Arya's little face peeked through. "Is she mad at me again?" "No," Mari whispered, kneeling. She's in one of her moods today. Don't take it to heart. She doesn't like me." The words were soft, almost too soft to hear. Pain sliced through Mari instantly. She cupped Arya's cheeks gently. "I like you, but you're not my mommy," Arya whispered. "My mommy was pretty and kind. Daddy said you're kind too, but she stopped, as if the rest of her sentence was too heavy. Mari forced a smile. "You want me to help you clean up the room?" Arya nodded. They spent the next half hour picking up dolls, smoothing blankets, and folding tiny dresses back into the wardrobe. When they finished, Arya hugged her leg tightly. "I wish you were my mommy," she whispered. "I'd be good. I promise." The words cracked something inside Mari. She stroked Arya's hair. "You are good," she said. "You're the sweetest child in the whole world." Arya smiled. A small, fragile smile. But as Mari stood to leave, they both froze at the sound of Fiona's heels clicking rapidly down the hallway. She entered without knocking. "Oh," she said sharply. "You're here." Mari kept her posture straight. Fiona's eyes scanned the room. "Did you clean for her?" "She did most of it," Mari replied, calm but firm. Fiona's lips curved, though not in a smile. More like a restrained sneer. "How convenient. Well, I need you in the guest house. There's a delivery coming, and I want everything inspected before it's stored." "Yes, ma'am." Fiona turned to Arya. "You come with me?" Arya stiffened. "Where? Don't question me." She grabbed the child's wrist, not tight enough to bruise, but tight enough to frighten, and pulled her along. As they left the room, Arya twisted back to look at Mari, her eyes wide and anxious. Mari forced a reassuring smile, and mouthed, "It's okay." But it wasn't okay. Mari felt that same tightening in her chest again. Something was wrong. Something was building beneath the surface. Something dark. And Fiona's sudden need to take Arya with her sparked a warning in Mari's gut she couldn't ignore. She watched until they disappeared down the stairs, then exhaled shakily. Lord, she whispered, keep that child safe. It wasn't until she reached the guest house that she realized the delivery Fiona mentioned didn't exist. No truck, no boxers, no workers, nothing. The guest house was empty and quiet, dust floating lazily in the beams of dim light coming through the windows. That uneasy feeling grew stronger. She stepped back outside, the wind pushing against her apron as she scanned the yard. That was when she heard it faint, desperate, terrified, Arya scream. Mari didn't think. She ran hard, sprinting through the gardens, across the wet grass, heart slamming in her chest. Arya, she yelled. Another scream answered a sharp one, broken at the edges. It was coming from the beekeeping shed near the orchard, where the late Mrs. Draycott had once kept honeybee boxes. But nobody had touched those hives in years. As Mari raced closer, she saw Fiona kneeling beside someone near the hives. And when she got close enough, the sight hit her so violently she almost stumbled. Arya was tied, her tiny wrists bound with rope, her ankles strapped together, her body propped against the side of an old wooden hive, crawling with bees awakened by the sudden commotion. Fiona stood over her, pushing the hive door open with a wicked satisfaction carved across her face. Oh, don't cry, Fiona said harshly. You'll stop soon enough. Arya sobbed uncontrollably, struggling, shaking, screaming through her tears. No, please. Mari's roar tore through the yard. What are you doing? Fiona whipped around, startled, and for a moment Mari saw the truth of pure, venomous hatred simmering beneath her polished surface. Stay out of this, Fiona spat. This has nothing to do with you. She's a child, Mari screamed. You're going to kill her. Good, Fiona hissed. Then the fortune will finally be mine. The wind howled. Thunder cracked overhead. Bees spilled out from the open hive, swarming toward Arya's trembling body. And Mari knew she had only seconds before something irreversible happened. Without thinking, without hesitation, she sprinted forward, lunging at the hive with her whole body weight, slamming the lid shut and kicking it away from the girl. Fiona screeched and grabbed Mari's arm, digging her nails into her skin, trying to drag her back, but Mari shoved her off so violently that Fiona stumbled into the mud. Mari dropped to her knees beside Arya and frantically worked at the ropes. It's okay, baby. It's okay, she whispered in a rush, though her voice shook violently. Arya sobbed harder. Mari? I'm scared, Mari. I know, sweetheart. I know. Hold on. She tore through the rope, yanked it free, and pulled the child into her arms as fast as she could. But Fiona scrambled up, her face twisted in a monstrous, unrecognizable rage. Don't you dare take her, she shrieked. Lightning flashed behind her, illuminating her silhouette like a demon tearing through the storm. Mari didn't look back. She scooped Arya into her arms and ran, sprinting with every ounce of strength she had. The thunder chasing them, the wind whipping their clothes, the bees buzzing angrily behind them. Fiona's screams echoed across the yard, but Mari didn't stop. She refused to stop. She ran until her lungs burned, until her legs shook, until she reached the stone steps of the mansion. By the time she slammed the door shut behind them, Arya was clinging to her like a child clings to life. Mari, she cried softly, trembling uncontrollably. She wanted to hurt me. She wanted to make the bees sting me. Why? Mari tightened her embrace. Because evil exists, baby, she whispered, choking on her breath. But I'm here. I got you. I won't let anything happen to you. Outside, Fiona's voice echoed closer, furious, hysterical, unhinged. Maryam opened this door. Mari locked every bolt, turned every handle, pushed a chair under the doorknob. She moved faster than she'd ever moved, and she whispered to the trembling child in her arms, "She's not getting near you again." The storm raged outside. The mansion felt too big, too dark, too quiet, and Mari had no idea how far Fiona would go. But she knew one thing: today was only the beginning, and the danger was far from over. Thunder rolled across Ravenshade Estate like a giant pounding on the sky, shaking the window panes and rattling the chandeliers. Inside the mansion, Mari clutched Arya tightly, feeling the child's trembling seep into her own bones. Each breath the little girl took came in quick, sharp bursts, like she was afraid the air itself might hurt her. Mari stroked her curls gently, murmuring soft reassurances, though her own heart thudded violently in her chest. She babied, "You're safe. I promise you're safe. Safe for the moment." But moments passed quickly, and Fiona was still outside. A heavy bang slammed against the front door, jolting them both. "Maryam, open this door." Fiona's voice sounded wild, unhinged, nothing like the cold, elegant woman she maintained for society. The storm had cracked something inside her, something that had been waiting years to claw its way out. Mari felt Arya flinch in her arms. "It's okay," she whispered again, crouching behind the thick spiral staircase. "Stay quiet." Another deafening bang, then another. Fiona wasn't knocking, she was trying to break in. Thunder cracked again, and for a moment the whole house flashed white. The shadows trembled across the walls. Mari forced herself to breathe. She needed to think. She had to get Arya somewhere safe. Somewhere Fiona couldn't reach them. "Come here, sweetheart," she whispered, scooping Arya again. "Let's go." She moved through the corridor, keeping low, listening for any sign that Fiona had found another way in. The house was enormous, too many doors, too many windows, too many chances for danger to slip in. The kitchen was dark except for the faint glow of the storm outside, and Mari could see the back door latch. Trembling under the force of the wind, she locked it, then she locked the side door, then the patio. But the house felt like it was breathing fear, expanding and contracting around the two souls trapped inside. Arya's little hands clutched her shirt tightly. Why did she do that? Why did she tie me there? With the bees? Mari swallowed. Because she stopped. Arya was 6. She couldn't tell her the full truth. Because she's not well, baby. She's sick in her mind. Will she come back? Mari hesitated. Yes, Arya stiffened. Tears pooled in her eyes. But listen to me, Mari whispered, kneeling so she could look right into her face. She will not touch you. As long as I'm breathing, she will not touch you. Arya nodded shakily, though she didn't fully understand. She didn't need to. She just needed to feel protected. Just then, glass shattered from the other side of the house. Arya gasped. Mari went still. Then another crash. Fiona had found a window, and she was inside. Miriam, her voice echoed through the halls. Slower this time, dripping with venom. You think you can hide her from me? You think you can protect her? Mari's pulse raced. She grabbed Arya's hand. Come quickly. She led her to the servants' corridor, a narrow hallway hidden between the kitchen and the laundry room. It was dark, cramped, and easy to overlook. Harriet had always called it the secret tunnel. They slipped inside just as footsteps clicked across the marble foyer. Fiona sang, her voice eerily calm now. You're making this worse. Give me the girl, and I might forgive you. Arya whimpered softly. Mari covered her mouth gently. Hush, baby, hush. They moved deeper into the servants' passage, navigating the twists until they reached the old storeroom at the back of the house. Mari closed the door quietly and pressed her ear against it. Footsteps echoed again, closer, too close. Come on, Fiona murmured. I know this house better than you ever will. Mari silently cursed. Fiona would know. She had studied the home like it was her kingdom, memorizing every crevice and corner. Mari needed a plan, but plans required time, and time was slipping fast. A sudden flash of lightning illuminated the small room, and for a split second, Mari caught sight of Arya's frightened face. Will Daddy come home? Arya whispered. Mari knelt in front of her. Yes, and when he does, he'll make everything right. But, she said, Daddy won't believe me. Mari felt rage burn beneath her ribs. He will? I'll make him. Promise? I promise. Arya breathed out slowly, trusting her completely. It was a trust that Mari had earned over years of caring for her, comforting her, teaching her, loving her quietly like the daughter she never had. But that trust came with a responsibility that weighed on her now more heavily than ever. Suddenly footsteps stopped directly outside the storeroom door. Mari froze. Arya covered her ears. Fiona's voice whispered through the crack in the frame. Are you in there? Mari didn't breathe. Silence. Then a loud bang as Fiona slammed her fist or something heavier against the door. Arya flinched violently, tears spilling down her cheeks. Mari pulled her close, shielding her with her body. Open this door, you worthless maid. Fiona shrieked. Mari pressed her back against the door, holding it shut with her full weight. But she knew it wouldn't last. The storm, the adrenaline, the pure insanity flowing through Fiona gave her strength beyond reason. The next strike splintered the frame. Mari whispered, we have to run again. But, Arya sobbed. Mari scanned the room. There was only one option, the laundry chute. It was steep, dusty, and narrow, but it led directly to the basement. Fiona would never fit through it. Mari pushed a crate under it, climbed up, and opened the metal hatch. Come on, she whispered. Climb in. Arya stared at the dark chute. I'm scared. I'll be right behind you. I promise. Another crack at the door. Arya nodded, took a shaky breath, and crawled into the chute. Mari heard her slide down soft thumps as she descended. Mari climbed in after her. The door behind her exploded fully open. Mari slammed the chute shut and let herself fall. The slide was rough. Cold metal scraped her arms and legs, but she didn't stop. She tumbled, twisted, filleted till she landed on a pile of old blankets in the basement. Arya ran to her immediately. Are you okay? Mari winced. Yes. Come on, baby. The basement was cold and damp, filled with old furniture, trunks, and tools. A single dim bulb flickered overhead. The storm outside growled low, like nature itself was trying to warn them that time was running out. Above them, Fiona's footsteps crossed the floor, then stomped angrily. She hadn't figured out where they went, not yet. Let's hide, Mari whispered. She led Arya behind stacked crates and old furniture, deep into the shadows. Arya clung to her, shaking. Then they heard it. The basement door creaked open. Mari felt her blood turn to ice. Fiona had found the stairs. Slow footsteps descended, each step curling dread deeper into Mari's spine. I know you're down here, Fiona called softly. You think you can hide her forever? Arya buried her face into Mari's side, trying not to cry. You forget who controls this house, Fiona continued. Who controls him? Raymond won't believe a word you say. He barely sees the brat anyway. She's nothing to him. Mari clenched her jaw. That's a lie, she whispered under her breath. but Fiona kept walking deeper into the basement, dragging something along the concrete floor, something metal. A crowbar. Mari tightened her grip around Arya. One way or another, Fiona hissed. This ends tonight. Then suddenly the basement lights flickered and went out. Complete darkness. Arya gasped. Mari covered her mouth quickly. Footsteps stopped. For several tense seconds, there was silence, just the storm outside and the soft dripping of water somewhere in the distance. Then Fiona spoke softly, almost calmly, her voice floating through the darkness. You can run, Miriam, but the girl won't get far, and when I find her, it'll be worse for both of you. Mari felt her heart twist. She had to think fast. She had to find a way out of the basement, a way out of the house, a way to escape with the child before Fiona's madness escalated into something irreversible. She scanned the pitch-black room with her memory instead of her eyes. She had worked in this house for years. She knew its corners, its forgotten places. There was another exit, a small one, barely noticeable, behind the furnace. Mari, Arya whispered faintly. Mari leaned down. Listen to me, baby. We're going to get out of here. But you have to be brave for just a little longer, okay? Arya nodded against her arm. Mari lifted her gently and moved silently through the shadows, relying only on touch, memory, and instinct. Behind them, Fiona continued to move blindly through the darkness, swinging the crowbar angrily whenever she bumped into something. Mari reached the furnace, pushed aside a loose panel, and uncovered the small crawl space behind it. It was filthy, narrow and cold, but it led outside. She ushered Arya inside. Go slowly. I'm right behind you. Arya crawled forward, her small hands scraping across the dirt. Mari followed, wedging herself through painfully. Behind them, Fiona's voice suddenly turned shrill. Where are you? Mari felt Arya flinch. But then fresh air. The crawl space opened into the back of the estate grounds, near the thick cluster of pine trees. Rain poured heavily now, blurring everything, masking their escape. Mari lifted Arya into her arms and ran into the trees. Behind them, Fiona's scream tore through the storm, an unnatural, furious, unhinged sound. Miriam, I'll find you. But Mari didn't look back, not once. She held Arya tighter against her chest and ran deeper into the storm-drenched forest, praying the darkness would protect them until morning. For the first time in her life, Mari wasn't running from danger. She was running with something worth more than her own life. She was running with a child who trusted her completely, a child she had just saved from death, a child she would fight for until the very end. Rain poured through the forest in violent sheets, cold and relentless, soaking Mari to the bone as she ran with Arya held tightly against her chest. The storm had turned the world into a whirl of darkness and noise. Branches whipped at her arms. Mud sucked at her shoes. The wind pushed back with every step she took, but she kept running. She didn't stop. She didn't slow, because behind Hersemer and the screaming storm Fiona was hunting them. Arya's small fingers clutched the collar of Mari's shirt, her little cheek pressed against Mari's neck, shivering uncontrollably. Mari, she whispered, voice trembling. I'm scared. I know, baby, Mari said softly, breath jagged as she dodged a fallen branch. But hold on. I won't let anything happen to you. Arya's small arms squeezed tighter. The storm swallowed their voices instantly, but the forest felt like it listened, like it was hiding them, sheltering them from the monstrous woman they were fleeing. Mari didn't know how long she ran. Minutes? Hours? Time felt twisted by fear. But eventually, when her legs burned and her lungs screamed for air, she slowed, ducking under a thick pine tree for just a moment of shelter. Arya lifted her head. Her curls were plastered to her face, raindrops clinging to her eyelashes. Is she still coming? Mari listened. Only the storm answered, but she knew Fiona. Fiona wasn't a woman who gave up. Not with greed in her veins. Not with madness on her tongue. Mari stroked Arya's cheek. We'll keep moving, she whispered. But first, catch your breath. Arya nodded, leaning against her. Mari looked around. The forest was thick, unfamiliar. The estate was nowhere in sight. They had no flashlight, no phone, no coat, but they had distance between them and Fiona Nan. That was a small blessing she clung to. She stood, lifting Arya again. Let's go. They walked deeper into the forest. Mari, moving carefully, stepping over roots and rocks. Her muscles ached, but she pushed forward, one step at a time, one breath at a time. For Arya, only for Arya. Then something snapped behind them. Mari whirled around. Nothing but darkness, rain, trees, but she felt it. A presence. Watching, hunting. Fiona was close. Hold on tight, Mari whispered, and she ran again. Through the darkness, through the storm, through the panic clawing at her stomach. Lightning flashed behind the trees, illuminating a distant figure, a silhouette. Fiona. She was moving slowly but deliberately, like she knew the storm would corner them eventually. Mari nearly stumbled, her heart pounding so violently she thought her ribs might crack. Arya buried her face again. Is that her? Mari didn't answer. She didn't want to scare the child further. She ran harder. Rain splashed into her eyes, blurring her vision. The forest floor turned slippery beneath her feet. But just as she felt herself slipping into fear, she spotted something, a faint line of wooden posts in the distance. A fence, a boundary. Civilization, we're getting out of here. Mari breathed. She sprinted faster, climbing over the fence carefully with Arya in her arms. On the other side lay a narrow dirt road that cut across the woods, and far down the road headlights. A car, Mari waved frantically. Hey, help, please. The car slowed. Headlights brightened. The engine hummed closer. Mari held Arya high, signaling again. The car finally stopped beside them. The driver stepped out, a middle-aged man in a raincoat, his face concerned. My God, are you two okay? What happened? Mari didn't think. She couldn't think. The relief hit her like a wave. Please, she gasped. There's a woman, she's dangerous, she's trying to hurt the child, you have to help us. The man blinked, realizing the severity in Mari's shaking voice. Get in now. Mari slid into the back seat with Arya, still holding her tightly. The driver jumped in, slammed the door, and sped forward. Rain battered the windshield. The wipers struggled to keep up. Who's chasing you? He asked over the storm. Arya's stepmother, Mari said, voice trembling with exhaustion and fury. She tried to kill her. We have to get to the police. The man nodded, speeding through the rain-soaked road. We're about 10 minutes from town. Hold on, Mari exhaled shakily and hugged Arya again. The child finally relaxed. Just a little, though her breathing was still uneven. Mari, you saved me, she whispered softly. Mari kissed her forehead. I'd do it 1,000 times over, baby. But the storm wasn't done with them yet, because, as the car made a sharp turn, headlights cut across the trees, illuminating another figure staggering onto the road ahead. Fiona, she stumbled into the road, rain whipping around her, her hair wild, face twisted, drenched, and furious. She raised her arms and screamed into the approaching car. Stop, give her to me. The driver jerked the wheel, narrowly swerving past her. What the is that her? Yes, Mari yelled. Fiona pounded on the side of the car as they passed, her palms slamming against the window with a sickening desperation. Arya shrieked and covered her ears. Fiona screamed something unintelligible, but the storm drowned her voice out. The car sped away, leaving her behind, an unhinged silhouette swallowed by darkness. For the first time since the nightmare began, Mari felt a glimmer of hope, a small, precious spark. We're almost safe, she whispered into Arya's hair. Almost. They reached town minutes later. The driver pulled up to the police station, and Mari practically stumbled out of the car with Arya in her arms. The officers rushed to them, immediately taking Arya gently, helping Mari inside, giving them blankets, asking urgent questions. Within minutes, the story poured out, everything. The beehive, the ropes, the chase, the madness, the storm. Officers exchanged horrified glances. One of them, a stern, broad-shouldered woman, We'll dispatch units to the estate immediately. That woman will not get near this child again. Mari nodded, breathing heavily. Thank you. Arya clung to her side, refusing to let go. Hours passed, the storm calmed. Dawn seeped across the sky in pale colors, and then the doors burst open. Raymond Drake, Arya's father, his clothes wrinkled, hair disheveled, face shattered with fear. He practically ran across the room. Arya leaped from her seat and into his arms, sobbing with relief. Raymond held her like he never wanted to let go, tears streaming openly down his face. My baby, my sweet girl, I'm so sorry. I wasn't there. I should have been here. Arya clung to him like she was clinging to life itself. Raymond pulled back just enough to look at her. Are you hurt? Did she hurt you? Arya nodded. She tried. She tied me to the bees. And Mari saved me. Raymond turned slowly toward Mari. Raw gratitude burned in his eyes. You saved my daughter. Mari swallowed hard, exhaustion finally settling into her bones. I did what anyone with a heart would do. Raymond shook his head. No, most people would freeze. Most people would run. You didn't. You saved her life. He stepped forward and took her hands. Thank you. From the deepest part of my soul, thank you. Before Mari could respond, an officer rushed in. Sir, we've located Fiona Drake. Everyone went tense. Where is she? Raymond asked. On the estate grounds? Unconscious, appears to have fallen during the storm. She's being transported to the hospital under custody. She'll be facing multiple charges: attempted murder, child endangerment, assault. Arya pressed her face into her father's shoulder. Raymond exhaled, shaking with pent-up rage. I trusted her, he whispered. I left my daughter with a monster. Mari touched his arm gently. She'll never come near Arya again. The officer nodded. We'll make sure of it. Hours later, after statements, after paperwork, after everything finally settled, Raymond invited Mari to sit with him and Arya in a quiet room. Arya sat between them, holding both their hands. Mari, the little girl whispered. Yes, baby, are you staying with us? Mari blinked. If your daddy wants me to, Raymond didn't hesitate. I do. You are family now. Mari felt something warm bloom in her chest, something she didn't expect after the nightmare they had survived. Then I'll stay, she said softly. Arya smiled for the first time in what felt like forever. She leaned her head on Mari's arm. Raymond placed his hand over them both, his voice thick with emotion. From today on, everything changes. No more fear, no more danger. And Mari, I promise you this. I will spend the rest of my life making sure you and Arya are protected. You're not alone anymore. Mari felt tears slip down her cheeks, but she didn't wipe them away. They weren't tears of fear this time. They were tears of hope. The nightmare was over. Fiona was gone, and the child she loved like her own was safe. As the sun finally broke through the thinning clouds, casting warm light across the room, Mari pulled Arya into her arms one more time. "You're safe now," she whispered. "You're truly safe." And for the first time Maria believed it. And to my amazing YouTube viewers watching this right now, comment below. Where in the world are you watching from? And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more gripping stories.